It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
The final buzzer is sounded on another night of Mountain West basketball, and it's time to break down the action with Tom Moser on another night in the Mountain West, presented by Circa Sports. Headed to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament in March? Make sure to stay at Circa Las Vegas and watch all the action at Stadium Swim, where the sports are on 365 days a year. Another night in the Mountain West has interviews, analysis, opinions after the final Mountain West basketball game of the day wraps up. All BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out our full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Did your team just get a big win? Suffer a bad loss? Come discuss it with us. Send us a comment or question in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/BNN. Now let's go to the Sun Cruiser Studios and join Tom Moser for another night in the Mountain West on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, good friends of the Mountain West? You are here in the Sun Cruiser Studio, and I'm your host, Tom Moser, on another night in the Mountain West. Early edition here, still actually on the actual day of the game here on the East Coast, 11:42. On Friday the 13th here in February. And interestingly enough, we have a game now, 64-57 at, I guess we'll call this the under 8 timeout. Leon had to use one there as UNLV just went on probably what amounted to a 8-0 run. Passner's grinning. He's got this smirk going on the sidelines. Leon's not happy with an official. And we got ourselves a game after it being kind of blah beginning. So here's what we're going to do here as we discussed the other night. When Boise's at home, BJ's got about maybe half-hour buffer before he will start his show, and I figured that was a good time. Gives me enough time here to talk. Then I'll get the bat signal from him whenever he's ready to go, and I'll get off. But that gives me plenty of time. We have at least 20 minutes of game time left, if not 25. And with it being a UNLV game, it may be 35 or 40, and then another 25 or so after the game ends before BJ comes on and I sign off. So plenty of time to talk about lots of stuff going on. Let's give a shout out to Sun Cruiser. I got the same old trusty one here that's been up in the room here for weeks now. So give Sun Cruiser some love. And at the bottom there, at Mountain West BNN, give it the old subscription, just free click on the subscription. That will help me out. Gotten a few of those after the midweek shows. That's always good. So hopefully we can pile a few more on here this weekend. Now, we'll see if the audience piles in or not. Not sure how this would go. We did have a little success with it, likely because of the craziness at the end of that Fresno UNLV game a week and a half ago. So we don't expect that every single time. But I did have some people that, as I mentioned back then, comment that it was a pretty good setup and they liked it and an idea. And I heard from some other people this week too that said, let's give that a try more often. And so here we are. It is a standalone game. It's the only game tonight. And so why not give it a shot, right? Now, as far as the game goes itself, let's talk about the game here. Just what do I always say? College basketball games are 40 minutes, right? So, Boise looked like they could beat the 96 Bulls in the first 10 minutes. Now, part of that is the fact that UNLV didn't show up. They did not show up, okay? It was 30-9, maybe 11 minutes in, maybe 12 minutes in, as here goes Gibbs Lawhorn for another layup to cut it to 5. This is remarkable. They just were not engaged in the game at all, right? Boise's D was good. UNLV not engaged. Both things can be true, right? And what was more remarkable, and I sent a tweet out about this, was the fact that at 30-9, with about 9 minutes left, Passner had not used a timeout. That is like I can't believe that. Like we just talked the other night, just to show you how and the difference in coaches, right? As UNLV has the ball down 5 with 6 to go. This would be Gibbs Lawhorn missed a 3. You almost expect him to make every 3 he takes. This would be almost as remarkable as anything we've seen in the conference. Well, short of that UNLV Fresno game, because that will never be topped. But this would be right up there with Boise and San Diego State from the AHAS 6 weeks ago now. This game was 30-9, and it was dead later in the half as Hamilton just hits a 3 late in the shot clock from like 25 feet. So this is a 2-point game. This is absolutely remarkable. And so it's funny, when I tweeted out that we'll do this show live, I said maybe we'll get some late game theatrics, and you never know what you're going to get from UNLV. Well, guess what? After the first 12 minutes of the game, it certainly didn't look like anything was coming of it. But now, who knows what's in store here at the finish? I'm frankly very surprised at what's taking place here. I maybe I have to readjust my expectations, but I don't expect UNLV to pick themselves up off the mat when they get down by 20 in a game like this. Maybe it's just kind of, it fits in with their carefree attitude, right? That it doesn't bother them that they get down by a number like that. And they just felt, you go out, you take the good and you take the bad with some of these players. And Gibbs Lawhorn just fouled Peanut shooting a 3 in the corner. So that's going to give Boise probably 2, if not 3 points back. What's the number one cardinal sin that I say do not foul jump shooter? And Gibbs Lawhorn Boise struggling for points here. And on an out of bounds set, Gibbs Lawhorn cuts him down on the lower body, curling around a screen. So just brutal. That's the stuff that costs you games like this. But, you can't be happy if you're Leon right now. As I said, games are 40 minutes, right? And so you expect teams to make runs and stuff. But when you're up by 20 in a game at home, I don't know. Did some X and O things change? I don't really think they did, right? UNLV picked up their intensity level and Boise didn't kind of match it. I don't know if I guess it's human nature, right? We've said this before, to kind of let off the throttle as Carmichael hits all 3, to let off the throttle when you get such a big working margin like that. It's difficult to just kind of sustain it. It is. Very few teams have that in their DNA. We talked about how that was a problem for San Diego State many times this season. And, it's bitten Boise here now tonight, because this should not have been a game under the last 10 minutes. Even here in the second half now, after all of that in the first half, Boise still stretched it out to 17 or 18 with 10, 11 to go. And now Jones scores inside. It's a 3-point game with 5 to go. So 17-3 run, as the stats show, they put on the screen here in the last 3.5 minutes, and an offensive foul on the Broncos here. And Leon's not thrilled about that one, but it's been a pretty clean game as far as fouls go. Neither team in the bonus yet with under 5 to go, so we'll take that every time out. But anyway, listen, the end of the first half, we've seen teams do this at other points in the season here in the conference. that it's such a key few minutes there, right? Like you're down 17, maybe even 16 or whatever it was, as Leon goes a little 1-2-2 3-quarter court pressure to try and slow the Rebels down. But do you get a couple buckets and go up 20, or do you give up a couple buckets and go in up 11? Well, the Rebels finished the half strong and they cut it to 11. It just gives you such an uplifting mental. You're in a much better mental place. It's funny, if you start the game and you would have told Boise fans or UNLV fans or anybody, Gibbs Lawhorn scores, it's the 1-point game with 4 to go. If you would have told anybody it's 40-29 at halftime, Boise fans would have taken that in a heartbeat. And it turns out it was 40-29, and Boise fans were not happy because you had a 20-point lead, a 21-point lead to be exact, and the game was virtually over at that point, right? 98% win expectancy or whatever at that point. Carmichael for 3, and he hits it. He's made some big shots. I didn't even get to the individual play here yet of Fielder or anybody else. It looks like Carmichael kind of landed on somebody's ankle right there. So Leon wants to know why we didn't have a little foul. Now, because of that whistle, it's going to take us to the under 4. So big shot right there by Carmichael. He scored the last 6 points, 3 drawing a foul, shooting 3, and then he buries a 3. So the Broncos are trying to fend off a UNLV rally here as we hit the under 4. Now, second half, let's take a look at the numbers here while we're in this timeout. I have them on in-game numbers, of course. Now, the funny thing is, and I'm going to take this off in a minute because these are actually ahead of the footage on TV or the computer, wherever you're watching. I have it on a computer in here, but I think it even is ahead of the TV, depending on how quick your cable gets you their footage, because I've had this on at other points with other games, and it updates well before the actual score on the TV does. And so I will get it off in a minute, but UNLV's made 7 of their last 9. They're up to 45%. I can tell you right now, they were not even anywhere close to that in the first half. Boise's still shooting it at 55%, but look at the difference in shot attempts. 55 for UNLV, 44 for Boise. Now, part of that is the fact that the Broncos have taken a few more free throws, so you don't get whacked for a shot attempt there, but they've also turned it over 4 more times, and the Rebels with 3 more offensive rebounds to generate some more shots. So, you shoot 11 more shots than your opponent, you're going to be in the game more often than not. It's the shot volume metric, right? Like you take 11 more shots, so they've made 1 more field goal than Boise has tonight. Okay. They've made 25 and Boise's made 24. Now Boise has shot 11 shots less, but that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, right? They've made virtually the same amount of shots. Boise's made 1 more 3 and a few more free throws, and that's how we have the margin we have. Okay. From an individual perspective, Fielder, he's just been unconscious. And like I said with Gibbs Lawhorn, with Fielder, it's like every shot they take now you expect to go in. Now, Gibbs Lawhorn, he'll get a little wonky and screwy sometimes and take a bad one. And he did it earlier. And look, he's taken 10 threes tonight. He's taken 16 shots. Little much, but I mean, he's scoring. He's got 26 points, and we still have 4 minutes to go. So he's likely to get up into the 30s if he can just make another shot or get fouled or something like that. Hamilton and Jones both have 10. Hamilton shot the ball okay, 4 for 6. Jones 4 for 9, 10 points, only 3 boards, but that's all right. Williamson hasn't done a whole lot. Brown made a couple shots. Bernarby with a bonus 9 points. He kind of had a 3 that hit the rim and bounced way up and went in. What did Boise get from the bench? Meadow with 7. Oh, Meadow started. That's who's in the game right now. Carmichael, the big one off the bench with 14. Andrews has been okay, just not huge in terms of getting looks. 5 for 8. That's efficient. 10 points, 5 assists. Good game, only 1 turnover. You'll take that. Keene returned tonight. So I guess I think that's wrong. Carmichael started because Keene came off the bench. So I guess you can't count those as bench points. So Boise has 12 bench points and 10 of them are from Aaron. So I forgot. Aaron's has played pretty well today. I'm going to take this off the screen now because we're getting the action back on. I don't want it to kind of jump ahead. But Aaron's was pretty big, made a couple shots just early on when Boise was kind of firing on all cylinders. So now things are going to tighten up. But again, here we go. UNLV's not your normal team that kind of tightens it up and plays the way you expect them to when the game gets in the crunch time. Refresher, it is crazy. I mean, welcome to UNLV basketball. I mean, that's what you kind of expect Lawhorn scores inside. He's taken inside a few times now after really settling all game for the 3, and we got a 2-point game with 3:20 to go. Let's see who Boise wants to go through here. Fielder's been hot, but he hasn't touched it lately. Buchanan's been semi-quiet. Carmichael's the last 2 possessions. Jones blocks Buchanan, offensive rebound and a foul. And now we're going to get the old Nate Harris review, as it looks like Buchanan got hit in the face. So this will be a 6-minute review. So we'll have plenty of time here to talk about Boise. So, I had to say it was wild to me that I saw Boise was like a 10-point favorite in this game, right? Wild. This is a game that these two teams, I know public perception, let's get a look here. I don't think that's a flagrant foul. We'll see what they call. I don't think so. It looks like Brown just kind of whacked down on Buchanan's arms. Just an old school NBA foul, no layup rule for the Knicks in the 90s, right? You're not going to give up a free layup. I don't think there was anything there. And maybe some follow through in the face, but he didn't hit Buchanan in the face right there. So I'd be very surprised if this turns into a flagrant. But then again, Kelly Pfeiffer, he likes going to the monitor, and he likes kind of people knowing that he's doing the game. So we'll see what they decide to call here. But regardless, Buchanan will be shooting 2, and then we'll see if they can retain the ball. So, the 10-point spread in this game I thought was crazy. The UNLV beat them at home. Now, I know Buchanan was out and Boise was playing much worse then. They're playing much better now. I just thought that was a little out of whack, that 10-point spread right there. Pretty inflated, if you ask me. I guess there's another replay of it. He just kind of whacks down on the arms. I don't think they're going to make this a flagrant. But, the way it started, I guess it kind of made sense. But again, these games are 40 minutes. And unless you have a team that's going to quit, and if this UNLV team isn't going to quit, then like most teams aren't going to, because we've talked about it already. They've had 4 or 5 games where they haven't shown up. They just haven't shown up. And so you can't expect them to dig in all the time. And if they're going to dig in, then people they play 40 minutes. Some of these guys don't care. Here's the call from Pfeiffer. Let's see what he says. Wow. Shows you what I know. Flagrant. That surprises me. I think that's a pretty bad call. I said it before. I don't think there's anything to that. That's kind of soft, if you ask me. And Pastner, of course, disagrees, and he's pretty upset right now. He doesn't usually get that way. He's very demonstrative right now for you guys watching. He's got to have some assistant coaches come over and corral him. I'm not sure what he's gesturing up. Maybe that's where the replay is. Maybe he's showing them that they watch the replay. That's a pretty soft call. 100%. Gibbs Lawhorn all conference. He's been lights out. Buchanan misses the first free throw. He's been really good. He struggled at the start of the year. The idea when Pastner built this roster was for Miles Che to obviously play the point, and for Gibbs Lawhorn to come play off the ball and as a shooting guard. And maybe it just took him a few weeks or a month and a half or 2 months to kind of get into rhythm at that position. Boise will inbound it up 3 now. Buchanan makes a second. We'll see if that call costs them a bucket or not. Could be crucial here. But then again, I would expect the next call to go UNLV's way here, knowing Kelly Pfeiffer and the crew. So anyway, Fielder scores inside. So 5-point game. I mean, he's been fantastic. He has been really good. He's had to play out of position, not to mention the fact, and Pastner, he said it like serious, even though it kind of came off like, he was making it in a lighthearted way and joking about it. But he says he plays almost every minute, so he's in peak physical condition. Hamilton hit a 3. Man, I think that guy, he's not as good as Chol shooting 3s, so I don't want to compare him to Chol, but I don't think he should be shooting 3s. Pastner calls timeout, 2.5 to go, 2-point game. I don't think he should be shooting 3s, but if you look at his stats tonight, I think that's the third one he's hit. He's hit 3 out of 4. It just looks awkward. Like he is not going to be a guy who you watch on film and say that that's a textbook jump shot. He doesn't get any lift off the floor. He has an extra hitch or movement in there in his upper body. I'm certainly no shot doctor. If you would watch me shoot the ball, it's not a pretty thing either. But then again, I'm not being paid NIL money to score and shoot the ball. So anyway, and he's taken plenty. But back to the Gibbs Lawhorn, definitely probably if we would vote after this weekend, he would be a first-team all-conference guy. He absolutely should be. I mean, I guess if they end up 10-10 in the conference, which looking over their schedule is certainly possible, and you get front-loaded guys, maybe a guy who's similar in terms of output and numbers, like a Jake Hall makes it over him. I don't know, but Gibbs Lawhorn, he deserves to be on the first team at this point. So we got 2.5 to go. Boise's going to inbound. So they're going to bleed some clock here. We'll see what they do. I like him going to Meadow in these spots. Like, he just doesn't get a lot of touches. I'm not sure why that is. And frankly, as I watch, he's not even in the game right now. So I wonder if he's banged up. Neto just took a 3 from the corner. I have no idea why that's a shot they got out of a timeout, but it's probably not what you want. And now the Rebels have the ball with a chance to tie or take the lead. So anybody that has the volume on, tell me why. And UNLV turns it over. Bad pass I've just been praising Gibbs Lawhorn, and he throws it away. A terrible entry pass. Carmichael with it. UNLV about to foul. No need to foul, and they foul. I mean, they just don't make smart plays. I mean, the freshman Isaac Williamson fouls. Carmichael's just trying to dribble the ball out, and Williamson fouls. And now they're going to put Carmichael, who shoots good from the free throw line, on for a 1-and-1. It's just, those are the plays that lose you games. And that's the stuff that drives me bonkers sitting here 2,500 miles away with, not really a rooting interest. I want to watch a good game. I want to watch something go down to the wire. Why are you taking that foul? Okay. Like, what are you doing? And why has that not been corrected? Because you have done that 35 times this year. Your teammate Kamani Hamilton has done it 335 times this year, and I don't understand why it continues to happen. Okay, so first one's good for Carmichael. Like, they've handed Carmichael 5 points here on the free throw line because he's a smart player, and UNLV players do not make smart plays. Okay, it's very difficult to beat. You heard Pastner say it the other night, and most people will acknowledge this if you've played at this level. It's very difficult to win games. Okay. Missed by Hamilton, rebound for Boise. Winning games is hard against good competition. And then when you have to beat yourselves on top of it, you just got no shot. So they just donked off 5 points, turned the ball over. Like, that possession there you can live with. It's a missed shot for Hamilton. You'll take it. It's a miss. It happens, okay? Miss by Andrews on the drive. So they got life. Here comes Gibbs Lawhorn. Minute 15 to go. Pastner's got one timeout. And there's the makeup call and one. There's Pfeiffer with the old makeup call on the drive for Gibbs Lawhorn. Wasn't much contact there, but I told her they were going to get a call. He makes this. It's a 1-point game with a minute 10 to go. Leon's got 2 timeouts. We'll see if he uses one here. I mean, I guess Buchanan bumped him a little bit, but you don't really need to make that call. But it is what it is. He made the basket anyway. So let's see if he can cash it in and cut this to 1. And then we'll see what Leon does here with the possession. He does make the free throw, so a minute 10 to go. It is possible too. Everybody has different feeds, and I'm watching on my computer, so you guys might be a few seconds ahead of me. So if you think I'm crazy, it's just because I'm on a computer and my feed might come in a few seconds behind you. So if you're watching along, they might not be exactly synced up. But here comes Andrews, minute to go. Meadow is now in the game. So I have zero clue why Nato was in before and Meadow was on the bench. Meadow is so efficient down in the post because he has guys. There's a foul on Brown, fouling Fielder. Now, at least Fielder hasn't made any free throws lately. He hasn't taken any, has he? I guess he's 2 for 2. I don't understand why Nato was in the game. Meadow has taken 4 shots again. It seems like that's what he averages on a daily basis. He takes 4 shots. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. McD. Can Nevada win tomorrow? It's going to be an uphill battle, my friend. I mean, it really is. I'll get to that in a second. Here comes the field. And I think this is the last 1-and-1. No, it's not. This is foul number 8. So this is a 1-and-1 for Fielder. They'll have one more 1-and-1 to get through. Fielder cashes in on the first one. Let's see what he does on number 2. I mean, we'll talk about tomorrow's games in a few minutes. I'll save that for probably the last 15 minutes of this show. Which could be in 2 minutes, or if this goes overtime, it could be in about 22 minutes. So let's see what happens. Fielder's second. Nevada has never won at San Diego State. I remember when I first started following the league a few years ago, I picked them to win there, and I thought they had good matchups. then they got drilled. And I remember being told by Aztec fans there, they've never won here. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. All right, Gibbs Lawhorn for the tie, and he buries it. And that was with 2 hands in the face. So 40 seconds left. They're walking it up, so we're not going to go 2 for 1. Let's see if Leon calls a timeout here and draws something up. He does. So 30 seconds left. Boise is 20 seconds on the shot clock. Let's see what Leon draws up. That was a difficult shot by Gibbs Lawhorn. I mean, the man is just absolutely on fire. Here's a look at the replay. Fielder was there. Andrews a little late on a closeout. But, I mean, that's the stuff you practice. Coming off a screen, catching and shooting. Here's another angle. NATO is closing out on him. Dylan, I guess, it is a choke job. I mean, anytime you have a 20-point lead at home, like, you shouldn't blow the lead. I mean, you can give credit to the other team, and I gave UNLV credit at the start. They deserve credit for not folding up shop. Gibbs Lawhorn's up to 34 points. I mean, he's just remarkable. He's played every minute of the game, I think. He's down for 39 minutes. So I don't know if that's because this minute didn't finish yet or what it is. Richard, here's the thing. I do have the volume off now. I had it on downstairs. His name's Derek Clark. I used to like him. Now he tries too hard, to be honest. There is 30 seconds left in the game clock, 20 seconds left on the shot clock. He's done several Mountain West games over the last few years. He actually did the game last year, or maybe I guess it was 2 years ago when Lucas made that bomb for Nevada to beat CSU, and he did a decent job calling that one, but he goes over the top sometimes. So to be honest, I'm not disappointed that I'm not hearing it, because he kind of he gets too jazzed up sometimes. Well, just another UNLV game, right? Refresher. I mean, that's how they play. They just that's what they do. Yeah, if they can pull it off. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they. I'm frankly, I'm surprised. I'm impressed too, because this game was cooked, and they didn't fold up shop. Yeah, total Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, nobody can figure them out. And you'd need like 3 PhDs and all those other doctorates. All right, here we go. So Andrews, Fielder up high with a screen, ball screen, Buchanan in the corner, Carmichael and Meadow on the wing. Andrews dribbling the shot clock out, 9, 8, 7. Buchanan in the corner for 3, short. Holy crow. UNLV has the ball, 10 seconds to go. Gibbs Lawhorn, I mean, the guy's been on fire. Here we go, 5 seconds. I should probably record this, and I don't. And they did not call a foul. I saw the hand go up, and I guess I jinxed myself. So much for me getting an early show and overtime here, because now BJ's got another 20-minute delay, and so we got OT. Yes, we do, Pac fan. OT at Extra Mile. Incredible stuff here. You'd like to listen. Here's where it's difficult to criticize the guy. Okay, you'd like to. On one hand, you'd like to see something going towards the basket right there, right? They're probably not going to call it anyway, but you like to see something going towards the basket. But on the other side of the coin, like, he's been making shots, and so you kind of have to let the guy make a play. He's been in fuego, and So UNLV has the momentum. We'll see. Remarkably, they seem to have nobody with 4 fouls, so that doesn't. At this point, that's not an issue. It will bring into play their late game time and score and situation stuff, which is never top of the line. Okay, that's never like their strong suit. So we'll see how it goes, especially if they grab a lead here. I would have liked to have seen him get I mean, look, he got a shot off, and that's what you want in that spot. Okay, who's going to win this game, Nick? At this point, I mean, you have UNLV +4. Well, I mean, you could still get there, but in overtime, sometimes that stuff goes out the window. I don't know, man. Nick, I guess, the momentum is with UNLV. It's funny. These two played, now that I think about it, these two played that infamous game like 5 weeks ago when in UNLV, when I criticized Passner for not fouling up 3 and Fielder hit the 3 to send it to overtime, and Boise had all the momentum there, and it didn't matter, and UNLV got the win. So this would kind of be the exact opposite. UNLV ties it late. They have all the momentum. Boise's at home. So maybe Boise kind of flips the script here, turns the tables, and gets the win to even up the season series. So there you see on the screen right now the leaders. Yeah, I know. Well, the shocking thing is that he only has 3 fouls. So Pastner, and I couldn't tell. You think Boise's out of gas, Mike? It's possible. Let me look at their minutes here. We got 34, 33. I mean, they're more rested than UNLV guys. Brown's played 36 minutes and Gibbs Lawhorn 39. Andrews 34, Carmichael 33, and that's it. Everybody else is in the 20s. So they should have plenty in the tank. Yeah, Dylan, after a few games of Andrews being the man, he wasn't as involved tonight. Yeah, I will give him credit. He hasn't forced stuff. He's been known to force shots, and I don't see him forcing it tonight. So I will give him credit. Okay, I will give him credit. What did he say? Oh, Nick has UNLV on the money line. Must have taken it when they were getting smoked early on. Dylan, the Leon Pastner showdown. Fielder, nice little jump hook in the paint. You don't see him working down in the weight room much. He's been hanging out top lately because he's been knocking shots in, but he gets one to go there off the shoulder. So let's see what if UNLV just kind of going to the well. Now, Leon had Buchanan on Gibbs Lawhorn. He switched off of it. Brown for 3, missed it. That was probably a foul on Hamilton. He didn't call it. Okay, here's a chance for the Broncos to build a little working margin. Each team gets an extra timeout and overtime, so they both have 2 right now. Each team is in the 1-1, but I think they've done a good job of not getting overly involved in this game. Although funny enough, that extra point or bucket on the intentional foul came back here to kind of bite UNLV, but you never know how stuff plays out if that wasn't called. All right, 3:40 to go. Rebels ball down 2. Kind of surprised he hasn't had Al Green in. He gave him some good minutes. Nice pass inside, and Brown misses the layup, but he gets fouled from behind by Carmichael. So Brown's going to shoot 2 with a chance to tie the game. All right, so I'm going to sneak in here. I know this seems awkward. I'm going to sneak in a look at the schedule, and I'll go back to this. Don't worry. I'm going to sneak in a look at the schedule for tomorrow. And I'm a little bothered. I guess I should have used other sources for this. But all week, or for 2 weeks, for as long as I've looked, the Brown misses the first. The website has had the border war at 9 Eastern tomorrow. I think I even commented on it the other night, or somewhere, that it was at 9 Eastern and 7 Mountain. And I guess that was wrong. They must have time changed it because it's now 4 Eastern and 2 Mountain. Second free throw is good. That does not make me happy. It's Valentine's Day, and so I'm going to miss that game. I had planned to miss the 2 other less than appealing games, shall we say, in that early round when you have Grand Canyon at they called a block there. I thought that might go the other way. We have Grand Canyon at San Jose State and Air Force at Fresno. So those 2 both go at 5 Eastern, 3 Mountain. And I was okay missing those 2. You know what? I will touch on that when I talk about the Nevada San Diego State game, because I did want to address that poll that came out that with the anonymous coaches and the job rankings. I will touch on that in a second. Buchanan makes the front end. So Boise's cycled through their 1-1s here. They'll be shooting 2 from now on. They're also up 2 with 1 more free throw to go. 3:18 on the clock. So I'm not real thrilled that game is at 4 Eastern. I'll probably watch the first half, and then I'm going to miss the second half, which is disappointing. But it's Valentine's Day, and I hear you, Nick. So I'd like to stay in the good graces here at home. So have to do what you have to do. I'll be back at night for the Utah State game and the San Diego State Nevada game. All right, here's UNLV. They need a bucket here, down 3, and Williamson hits a 3 from like 27 feet. Not a shooter, but it doesn't really matter when you're on UNLV. Like, everybody kind of has free reign to just fire. Williamson buries one. So both teams shooting basically 50% from three. UNLV 12 for 24, Boise 10 for 21. That's pretty efficient from the three. That's how you get a game up into the 80s here. Exactly, Dylan. Helps that it's in overtime. But all right, so Hamilton guarding Buchanan. Or no, that's Fielder. Oh, whoa, Jones. Oh, no. Oh, boy. This one is probably going to be reviewed here now. That Jones comes over for the block. There's Nate Harris with the old whirly bird, as I like to call it. We're going to get this one reviewed. Tyron Jones comes over on the help and blocks Buchanan. They call it goaltending on the floor. Passner's going to challenge. I don't think that's goaltending, but I was wrong in the last review. So let's see if I can go over 2 or if I can even the score here. That's not goaltending. I think that one's going to be overturned. So let's see what they do. 2:26 on the clock. Either way, it will be tied with UNLV ball, or Boise will have a 2-point lead. So back to tomorrow's card. The two games there at 5 Eastern, Grand Canyon at San Jose State and Air Force at Fresno State. I'm really not going to talk about those much after this game goes over. So let me just get those out of the way. Like, Grand Canyon's not playing super right now. 3 weeks ago, there was a case to be made for them to be one of the best teams in the league. Like, if not top 2 or certainly 3. They had beaten the top 2. I know they were both at home. Does not matter. They had beaten those top 2. They were at play and a hair away from winning at Nevada, and then it's kind of all gone downhill from there. Larry's rooting for the Rebels as well. So it's just, and now they look, there's no shame in losing to New Mexico. There's no shame in, but they did lay an egg against UNLV. They didn't look good in that game at all. And then, you lose a home game to the Lobos, where we don't expect them to lose home games, right? So, clearly they've kind of, maybe they peaked. Maybe they're just going through a valley right now. Maybe they'll get it back and gear it back up for the conference tournament. This is one where if they're not careful, they'll find themselves in a dogfight late. But again, we have no idea who's playing for San Jose State, and you never know. I think they play like roulette, and they just spin a wheel or something to decide if who's playing. And so what are we doing with the review here? Still going. And so that one, and then Air Force at Fresno, who knows? Like, last year, this is one where you'd say, well, maybe Air Force can get a win here. I don't see it happening. They're on the road, not a big home court advantage, of course, for Fresno, but Fresno's played good basketball this year. Okay, not a goaltend, so they're going to overturn it. That's the right call. That's a fair call. It should be UNLV ball in a tie game. I would assume that. So Passner will keep his timeout. And I think he probably has another challenge. I don't see the I can't hear it, but yeah, Mike, for sure. Yeah, this is maybe you're right, Mike. Maybe this is where the grind of the Mountain West night in and night out is starting to hit Grand Canyon. Yeah, that hasn't really been talked about yet. Maybe that's where that's what's happening here, right? They're obviously a massive step up in competition from league to league, and we knew that. And they have the potential on a 1 game or maybe a 2 game, or they did do it for a few games, a couple weeks to play at a pretty high level. But then of course you're going through the dog days. Gibbs Lawhorn on the drive, floater, and he got it in the lane. The dude is just unreal right now. 2 minutes to go, Boise ball down 2. And so maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe they're kind of hitting that wall where it's tough to get through game by game by game, grind after grind after grind. It just wears on you, and you're not used to it. UNLV with a steal? Oh, wow. This is incredible. So minute 40 to go, Rebels ball. Going to have a chance to milk at least 20 seconds off the clock here, if not more. And if they get a bucket here, Boise's in big-time trouble. Leon's going to have to call a timeout. Brown high post, 12 seconds to go. Although this also brings in a 5-second call out top. You see that probably like 3 times a year. Walter Brown was being guarded, didn't have his dribble, and they call the old 5 seconds. I wasn't, there's so much is going on. I forgot about the fact that we have the opportunity here to watch UNLV try to close out a game. This is like fantastic stuff. This is like as good as it gets in college hoops if they have a lead and they're trying to hold on to it, whether it's handling the ball or not fouling a jump shooter. They try to post Buchanan up, and Jones with a straight up block. Impressive stuff right there. The dude knows how to block shots. Blocking shots is about instincts. It's about timing, and he has it. Minute 5 to go, 15 on a shot clock. Gibbs Lawhorn dribbling it away out front. Buchanan got him on the switch. 10, 9. Gibbs Lawhorn on the drive. Doesn't have anything. Finds Jones. He kicks it out. Williamson for 3. Missed it, but an offensive rebound for Hamilton. So we got 44 and 18. So about a 16, 15, 23-second difference between game and shot clock. They're going to let it play out, but Boise's got to get a stop or a rebound here. We got 5 on a shot clock. Gibbs Lawhorn, he's going to fire. And he misses. But Jones with a follow-up dunk, and Boise now trails by 4 with 25 seconds to go. And Leon is going to, they're wasting time. He calls timeout with 22.4 to go. Yeah, exactly. What else could, you're about to find out. You're about to find out, okay? Because here we go. Yeah, you hate to use the word choke job, but man alive, like that's, that's shouldn't be losing that game. You got to box out right there. What nobody's guarding Jones on the weak side. Oftentimes when you take a shot from the baseline, if you miss it, it's going to bounce long. And Jones has probably done that 100 times in his career. Time to follow-up dunk on the weak side, and he just hammered it home. Now, here's where it gets interesting, right? Because regardless of what Boise does, score or not, UNLV is going to have the ball with the lead. They have not excelled in this situation. So I was kind of hoping for this secretly when I proposed to BJ earlier in the week, let's do this live. And then the way the first half started, never in a million years did I anticipate this playing out like this. Totally agree with you, Pac fan. Bingo cards for their games, some type of bingo cards of what they're going to do. Absolutely. Richard Tyron Jones can play. All right, here we go. Andrews draws a foul. So we got a 2-shot foul. Clearly not what you want to do, okay? So there's another one, taking bad fouls by UNLV. Check that one off the bingo card. So there you go. Trevor says that ESPN had Boise at 99.4% chance to win the game. How do they keep blowing these games? It's crazy. No lead is safe with them. That's pretty bad, 99%. Rebels play better in front of a crowd. Andrews' first free throw is good. They do. They're not used to a crowd at home. You don't have to tip, Nick. I forget, actually. Somebody did it the other day, and I don't even know because I don't know about that. Yeah, of course. My buddy's here, Pat. Yeah, Pat, of course you knew they would foul. Well, let's see what else they have up their sleeve here as they have to inbound the ball with 19 seconds left if Andrews makes the free throw here, and he got it. All right, so here's where it's going to get interesting. Somebody just called timeout. I'm going to assume it's Pastner. It is. So they each have one left, 19 seconds. Now, it's funny because most teams would relish being up by 2 with the ball here. It is my fault. I don't know. But no, in fairness, this was the plan all along to come on here just because I wanted – that would be an interesting one if they Chris Webber it and call timeout with none left. Because I'm sure Pastner would tell them here that they don't have a timeout. Ghost is making some cash here. Good for you, buddy. Betting on the underdog. All right. You hear that, Patrick? Okay. So, look, most teams would love this. Now, the problem is they got 1-1 to get through here. Those are not – we've seen how many teams miss 1-1s this year with a chance to quasi-ice a game. You obviously want to get the ball to Gibbs Lawhorn here. So that's number one. Okay. Not yet, Michael. Not so fast. A lot of things can play out here. You haven't watched many UNLV games over the last 2 weeks. So you want to get the ball to, not sure what Pastner's upset about because he seems animated here. You want to get the ball to Gibbs Lawhorn and let him make the front end. I don't trust any of the other guys on the foul line. So Walter Brown's going to inbound. Let's see if he does that old wonky baseline to baseline pass here to get a better angle that they did against Grand Canyon. It was not very smooth, but they did it. here we go. Brown running the baseline, inbounding it to Hamilton. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Brown. Okay, they get the ball over. So, I mean, look, it is what it is. They got fouled, but 4 guys touched the ball. 3 or 4 guys touched the ball, and Gibbs Lawhorn was not one of them. So, like, you set a screen for your best player and get him the basketball. Now you put a freshman on the line here to make a free throw that if he doesn't make, you're in trouble. I think Gibbs Lawhorn has 36, Ramiro. I don't want to go to it because it's going to spoil my what happens, because that feed is ahead of this one. So I don't want to look at the stats right now, but I think he's got 36. They barely got it over the timeline. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Williamson, probably the biggest free throw of his career, front end, clanked it. That was 80% to happen. Peanut grabs a rebound. Here we go. 10 seconds. Man, I should have had the recorder on. No timeout for Leon. Andrews misses. Walter Brown grabs the rebound, 1.3 to go. And it looks like UNLV is going to pull one out of the hat here and give 3 in a row for the Rebels. Pastner, he looks like the what is it? The cat that what did the cat do? The cat did something and he got away with something, or the guy that had his hand in a cookie jar. I'm mixing up analogies here, but look, this will be a season sweep of the Broncos for UNLV. It will be their 3rd win in a row. It will get them to 8-6 in the conference for all the grief we give them about how they close out games and stuff like that. 8-6 in this conference is pretty darn good. First free throw is good for Brown. Boise has 1 out right now, and that's a missed free throw. You have to grab it. Yeah, Dylan, I understand that. We'll wonder why the students don't show up. Will Boise fans be frustrated with? He missed it. Timeout. Okay, so here we go. 8/10 left. That was our chance. I don't know. I mean, here, if you don't call timeout there, you have to live with what you get, right? Like he had a timeout. He just used it. He had a timeout. You're down 2. I know the clock's late. There's 9 seconds left by the time you call it. So you don't have a chance to really run a set through and get multiple options. But if you don't call a timeout there, the ball's in your point guard's hands. He's going to take the shot 60% of the time. And so, I don't know. Here we go. So, I mean, what are they going to do? They got to inbound the ball 80 feet away. You just hope to get a half quarter off at this point. I mean, I don't know what they might put like 2 tenths back on. Timeout with 1 second. That clock went awfully quick from 1.3 to 0.8, but I don't know that that's going to make much of a difference, as I think they're going to go to 1.0. Jake says Rice needs to go. He's reached his ceiling. Great guy, but time for change. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I understand where you're coming from. I do. I get it. And they did. They went exactly to 1.0. Man, I'm 2 for 3 on these calls tonight with no volume. I deserve some credit for that. Broncos had 0 shot at an at-large, but anyway, yeah, they were out of the at-large conversation, but they were trending the right way and playing good basketball. This is a bad collapse, though, man. This is really bad. Mountain West After Dark was a great idea. Listen, I'll give BJ the credit. It was his idea. He hit me up. He likes the fact that I provide, unbiased content, right? I'm not favoring one team or the other. I want to see good games. I want to see good stuff. Pastner calls timeout now after he sees what Boise had set up. I guess we could see a UNLV foul here. That would be interesting, right? Or do something silly. I mean, who knows? I wouldn't say you're a laughingstock, Dan. I mean, yeah, obviously you took some flack after the Hawaii Pacific game, and obviously he's going to take some grief here. And I understand the sentiment about Leon needing to go, and that will heat up. I get it. He's not going to be gone after this year, regardless of what happens the rest of the year. I'll see what I can do for you, buddy. But next year, new conference. If he gets surpassed by a couple of teams in the same range as them, maybe something. I don't know. But nothing's going to happen right now. Yeah, I know the fan base is you could tell not majorly engaged tonight, which is disappointing. But again, and I know what you guys are going to say. Oh, yeah, he's had his run, but I mean, look, think of where Boise was before Leon got there. I know that's not your argument. Your argument is he's maxed out his ceiling, and I will say, as one of my buddies in here can attest to, I've told him and his brother for a long time that sometimes you just got to make a change when guys reach their ceiling. They are what they are, and so that's kind of what I feel about Leon. The problem is like, who are you going to get? The grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? And that happens in basketball, happens in football. You think you're going to upgrade, and not every hire is going to be like Eric Olin. It's just not, okay? Not every hire is going from Steve Fisher to Brian Dutcher, okay? It's not. So maybe Boise in a year and in a month agrees with a lot of you Bronco fans and says, you know what? Thanks, Leon. We're going to make a change, and you bring somebody in, and the program regresses. So, I mean, is that a chance you're willing to take? I guess listening to you guys, for many of you, I guess it is. All right, here we go. So it looks like Fielder is the choice. Is it Fielder down there to throw the home run pass? No timeouts for anybody. So this game should be over in 1 second. I'm sure it is over for you guys watching on live TV. I have the computer. Let's see what Pastner drew up defensively, and let's see what Leon drew up. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to get anything more than a half-court heave-off here. Kelly Pfeiffer wants to insert himself into the game once again, telling the UNLV bench to sit down. Just worry about the game, sir. Here we go. Fielder intercepted. Okay. Well, that was probably not a good thing either, even though Brown tried, because now Boise gets to inbound it at half court with 3/10 left. And again, we have to have a review. I think Pfeiffer leads the nation in reviews, and Nate Harris is probably second to him, as we're going to go to the table again. Okay, let's see what I missed some comments as I was watching that circus there at the end. I'll get to that in a minute, Nick. Leon's a good coach. Not a good year. Yeah, he didn't put a good roster together. Now, Andrews and Fielder have played together, have played better lately. There's no doubt about it. Not mad at Leon or the Hoop Squad after the AD decided to become okay. Okay. We don't need to worry about that. Leon retired. So word on the street is Leon's retiring after this year. Well, I mean, we'll see, right? I haven't heard that yet. Maybe that will give some of you guys your wish, and then we'll have to check back in a year, and maybe not a year. It's tough to judge somebody after a year, but I don't know. I don't know if Leon would want to go out like this. He's had a really good run. Who knows? I thought last year would have been the good time for him to go after Degenhart left, but he obviously was starving for an NCAA tournament win, one thing that's missing on his resume, and he hasn't gotten it. I was hopeful. He was hopeful in the program and fan base, I'm sure, that it would happen this year. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Does he want to hang it up? We'll see. All right, so 3/10 left. They got to do a catch and shoot. And, let's see if they can set a screen. Let's see if they can get somebody catching and firing. Let's see if UNLV can avoid fouling. Here we go. Keene inbounding. Peanut. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think they were going to credit it anyway. UNLV wins 86-83. Incredible comeback for the Rebels. Just a really bad loss. I'm not sure who you're talking to, Stop and Pop, but it's all right. So make Leon the AD. That's an interesting one. If Dickey would leave, maybe they give Leon some type of job. Yeah, absolutely. Only one team wins the conference. One team wins the tourney. Plenty of great coaches in the conference. Yeah, exactly. So I get it, right? Yeah. I mean, there's no way around it. Pastner, man, he's on cloud 9 right now. Leon has said, oh, okay, because Leon doesn't want to coach against Few because they're buddies from when they were together at Gonzaga. Interesting little angle there. Okay. We got, not a happy fan base right now. And so, bye-bye 5 seed. Well, Nick, if you made some cash there, good for you. Let me know your wait, there it is. Nick, big hit there on the underdog. Thoughts on winners for tomorrow. So look, let's talk. Well, let's wrap this one up here for a minute first, because again, had I not done the live thing here and just come on after the game, I would have said, look, here we go again. Yeah, Adam, you if you turned it off when you were up 20, you missed a good end, okay? Because this is just another night in the Mountain West when you have a team that looks dead in the water 10 minutes in and they come back and win the game. Just incredible. And that's against a team that was playing good basketball too. And it's funny, I just had thought today and told somebody else that they were a team that I'm not picking them to win the conference tournament, but I think that they could be dangerous in the conference tournament. But obviously a game like this doesn't give you much confidence, and it probably rattles their confidence too. But, huge credit to UNLV again. Like, I can't say it enough. A lot of teams at that point down 30-9. And then forget about that. They play a good last 4 minutes. And then once the second half, they stretch it out to 17 or 18 again. This kind of, in a way, not the first half, but the second half is the way the Utah State game played out. Utah State stretch it out early in the second half. And that's a good question. Well, my question isn't why Meadows in the game and not Aaron's, because he had NATO in at one point. I have no idea why NATO's in the game. I know he plays good defense, but he was late getting out on a Gibbs Lawhorn 3-2, so he's not immune to breakdowns on defense, and he doesn't give you anything on offense. He took a 3 in crunch time that was unnecessary, and he missed it. But why don't they get Meadow more shots? Why does Meadow not take more shots? Let me put these up back on the screen here now that the game went final, okay? And Andrew Meadow, in a 45-minute game, he only played 27 minutes. He takes 4 shots, and he made 3. That exact same shot line he had a few games ago. Why is the dude taking 4 shots? I'm not saying he's like a 20-point per game guy. Okay, I'm not saying that, but he shoots 3 for 4. He takes good shots. He's efficient. It used to drive me nuts when he would just park himself in the corner and fire 3 after 3 after 3. But that's not what he does anymore. He takes advantage of his matchups. He can drive it. He's got good touch off the bounce. He can post up and finish against smaller defenders. Why is he only getting 4 shots? I don't get it. And why is he not in the game at points? But to your point there, G, right? Or Greg, is it Greg? Like, Aaron's had a great first half. He had 10 points in the first half, and he ends the game with 14 minutes. And I don't think he took a shot in the second half, probably because he only played a few minutes. So, those are some questions that you do have to ask. A lot of people are going to want Leon gone. And you know what? So the extra mile is doing some reseeding, and they're going to want more the way it goes. Prices are going to go up. So, and not good timing for that. Okay. How did UNLV come back? Well, Jerry, it's a tough question to answer. Gibbs Lawhorn went off, as he's done much of the last 2 weeks. Okay. You can't be up 30 and allow a team back in the game. Coaching's horrible. Point guard gets 2 to 3 screens and no help at all. So BJ will be on a little bit, Paulie. When Boise has a home game, he's doing some media stuff, and I'm going to wait for as I said before, the old bat signal from him, and I'll get off, and he'll start his show. So if you guys are angry up there in Idaho, in the Boise section or elsewhere or anywhere else, you can stay here for now and then come on in a little bit. Somebody else done with Boise. Done with Leon, the Rail fan. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Bob, I just said that. Yeah, I don't know where he was in the second half. A guy scores 10 points on – how do you score 10 points on 3 shots? That's pretty efficient, right? So, and then to not get any run late, how about most of the second half? It's frustrating. And then, I'm a few minutes behind, Paul. He'll be here. He'll be here in a few minutes. Time to change. Boise needs a reset. Yeah. So a lot of the he was pulled too early. A lot of the comments, I get it, right? Thank you, Porter, for reposting it. Paulie, I appreciate it. That you could share everything with BJ. I'm sure he'll have plenty of thoughts. And you know what? I'm so tired normally, but I may have to tune in for a few minutes until I fall asleep when I check out, sign off in a little bit. BJ does have to filter. Excellent point, Devo. Obviously, he has to kind of filter it. I don't. but I see, as with a lot of things with me, right? I see both sides of the coin. Okay. I get the side where, he's maxed out. We got to move on. I get all that. I worry about the other side of the coin that says you got to be careful what you wish for, because we don't just grow good coaches off of trees. Okay. Not everybody hires an Eric Olin. Okay. UNLV fans would die for Leon Rice. I know Pastner just swept Leon Rice, but UNLV fans would have died 8 years ago and 5 coaches ago for Leon Rice. Right. And so you got to be careful, what you wish for, right? Because you never know what you're going to get. 100% Aggie, Lawhorn is a problem, okay? He can get hot. Well, he could get hot. He's been hot. He can stay hot. And, man, with Jones inside, just with his defensive presence, blocking Buchanan, blocking Fielder, those are important plays in the game. And not just blocking shots. But, I never talk about myself, but one thing that I could do was block shots and keep them in play, partly because I probably wasn't powerful enough to swat it 20 rows back like Shaquille O'Neal. So I would block it and keep it in play and then grab it myself or get it to a teammate. And then I'd wag the old Mutombo finger, right? Tyron Jones, he's blocking these shots and he's keeping them in play. That's huge. You block a shot and it goes out of bounds. Well, great. It's cool, but the team gets the ball back, right? Block it and secure the ball for your team. Okay. Jones does a great job of that. So they have some interesting pieces. It certainly helped that Hamilton and Williamson made a bunch of threes tonight. Walter Brown is playing really good basketball. Joey, it's funny. I mean, listen, how funny would it have been for him to have fouled then after I kept saying, no. It's funny. We needed a few more seconds is what we needed. So, I mean, whatever. I would have liked to have seen it, but it is what it is. It was, interesting game, that you need to watch it because, you don't see that every time. He's certainly not going to be confused for Bill Self or Tom Izzo out of timeouts. I mean, basically what they're running out of timeouts, all you got to do is just signal it over if in play and they could run the same stuff because it doesn't really seem like they're drawing a ton of stuff up. I don't know if BJ has access to alcohol inside Extra Mile, but he's probably dreading the comments that he's going to see. That's my question, Roman. I mean, look, I know somebody has said, who did they say? Maybe is it Few's son, or is it George Karl's son, or somebody that's on the bench? Are they grooming somebody like that? I don't know. Do you go new like that? Do you want a guy that has experience? Do you want a former, or a longtime assistant? I really don't know. Now, we're also getting ahead of ourselves because unless Leon does decide to retire, and, we've had a few people say he's going to, he's not going to get fired, okay? He is basically a 0% chance of getting fired. He may leave on his own, but all right, I want to get to the other two games tomorrow. I could talk about this for an hour, but obviously BJ will be here in 20 minutes with plenty of Boise talk for you guys to kind of vent to. And a lot of the same comments. And so, thought the game was over 5 minutes in. So did everybody else. Let's see. What else does it say here? I get it. It's like, what do you want? Are you willing to take the risk to get somebody who might not pan out? And many of you are, I guess, that's what it boils down to. You guys are, and I get it. You're sick of the 19-10s and on the bubble and then losing the first round or playing the NIT. Let's try something different because you'd rather maybe suck for 2 years and then win a tournament game and then suck for a year and then win a tournament game. I guess some people, that's fine. I get it. So, who wins, Hampton or North Carolina? Yeah, I saw that was an 11 o'clock game. Wait, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's probably almost over. Okay. Anyway, so George Karl's son, is that? Yeah, I knew he was on the bench. I've heard some rumors about him. And so anyway, okay. It was Meadows' turnover late. There's no doubt. Steve, there's no doubt that the Boise offense was just Andrews dribbling a lot. And UNLV did defend it well. Absolutely. Brown's been a very instrumental piece there for a while here. Okay, let's talk about I skipped over the border where I just said I was upset that they moved it early because I'm not going to be able to watch the second half now. Yeah, Meadow did have a bad turnover late. That can't happen. I just want him to get more shots. I guess I was kind of focused on that and not the fact that he turned it over. Yeah, I understand, Dan. You want a March Madness win. You'll see one at some point. It'll happen. There's enough people that care up there that'll make it happen. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to the Memphis game against Utah State in a second. All right. So the border war, I mean, listen, the first time it rolled around, I thought was a very good spot for Wyoming, and I think it flips around here. This is going to be one that the Rams are keyed up for, and I'd be surprised, frankly, if they don't get the win. It's one that they haven't played the greatest competition, but they've won a couple in a row. Just the way that Sundance had his boys charged up in Laramie, Ali will have his guys fired up tomorrow. I know I've said it, the guys don't have a huge amount of connection to this rivalry the way they used to do, because that's just the way that college sports are anymore, and it's unfortunate. But I think they'll get up. The crowd should be great. Mid-afternoon game, to beat your rival. Last scheduled game between them. We all assume that they'll play again, but we don't know how often. We don't know where. We don't know what the circumstances will be. So this one has a little bit extra juice behind it, especially with the fact that, the teams are pretty comparable this year in terms of what they put on the floor. And so it was a low-scoring slugfest the first time out. I mean, look, that's just the way that CSU plays. I've wanted them to play more up-tempo. Steve has said, and he's probably right. It's difficult to do that when you have Jorgensen and Bemba on the floor. Who knows what Ali will do with his lineups? He threw Booth in there the other night and sat Bemba for starter minutes anyway. I still insist that I don't understand why he has Jevin on the bench, because he's been probably their most consistent player over the last month. And he gets a lot of minutes, but maybe he's just wanting a jolt off the bench. I really don't know. But anyway, I would expect the Rams to get the win. I don't think they'll blow them out, but you always have the potential for that, because Wyoming, they're like many teams anymore in college basketball. If you're hitting your threes, and it happened with UNLV, and we've seen it with Grand Canyon and other teams too. If you make your threes, you're going to be in a game. Okay, if not, you're going to find yourself in trouble, and that could very well be the case for Wyoming tomorrow. Now, the other two, said this before, it's unfortunate the way that the season's played out for Memphis, right? This was a game that was a brilliant scheduling job by Calhoun in the summer or fall or whenever, spring, summer, whenever he got it scheduled. He's spoken freely about how difficult it is for him and his program and other like programs to get good teams to come play in their arenas, right? That's why he went and played it at against VCU in Texas, wherever that game was. Okay, and he did some other games that he's done over the couple years he's been here. And so he got Memphis to come and play here. And now Memphis, of course, has had a horrible year. They lost again last night to North Texas. They're barely 500. I don't even know what they might even be 500. I don't know what their overall record is, but it's not good. And now this is like I made the analogy before. I'm sure most of you guys don't pay attention to college baseball, especially with it not being a big thing in the Mountain West, but I like following it. And what you see teams do oftentimes late in the season is they cancel these games. They cancel non-league games because it can only hurt you. It can't help you. And it's like, I'm sure in 5 years, college basketball teams will be doing it too. But really, there aren't a lot of non-con games in February. This is an outlier. And now it's like a total pitfall and trap game. You're going to get nothing from it if you win. And, it really going to hurt you if you lose. So it's unfortunate. So should they lose the game? Of course they shouldn't, but you just never know. Like Penny Hardaway is not the best coach in the country. One thing he does is play pretty well, like when he's outmatched and as an underdog, and that's the case tomorrow. So the Aggies better be ready to go the way they were on Tuesday night when they look pretty sharp. This is one you do not want to play with your food here, and just in this game in general, or like big picture, because you got some tough games left. They're not going to get knocked for losing at Viejas, right? That's going to be okay. But anything else beyond that, and you're going to watch your seed line drop. And if you lose this one on top of that, then you really got to start worrying. Okay, so big game tomorrow for the Aggies. I mean, look, I'm sure the crowd will be in a frenzy. They only have a few home games left. And so, you got to make the most of it. They always show up and show out at the Spectrum. So I would expect nothing less tomorrow. I think they get it done. I'm sure it's going to be more, closer than Aggie fans want it to be for the better part of 30 to 35 minutes. You just hope that your team has enough. You do have enough weapons, if somebody has an off night like we've seen before sometimes, and that should be able to carry them through. Now, the last one is somebody said earlier, Nevada's never won in Viejas. They'll probably, let's face it, I don't know that they'll ever have another opportunity, right? Like, do we think that there's any world in which these two teams play again in Viejas? I would say it's highly unlikely. Okay. We've heard Dutcher say he doesn't really have a plan to schedule altitude teams. Would Nevada just go there for a one-off? Maybe. I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know that they would. That doesn't really seem in line with Alford's scheduling philosophy. Now, when Alford moves away in a few years or whenever that happens, it's possible. Could happen, I guess, right? But it's very well could be the last home game, a game in Viejas for Nevada, and they've never won there, even when they had their good teams under Musselman. Some of Alford's teams too were good. They were just beaten by better Aztec teams. They're not a better team this year than the Aztecs are. They played a good game at Lawler way back early on in conference play, actually had to lead for most of the way, and it was a one possession game for much of the last 4 minutes. Now, obviously the home court is going to make it different, and it's going to make it a lot tougher on the Pack. They're going to need Camper to kind of be at his best. He can't go through these lulls. Same thing with Comer. Their ceiling is limited offensively, and the Aztecs defense is much maligned among their fan base and among other people who are used to them being like this shutdown dominant defense and, whatever, this toughness. And they might not quite be like some of the other Aztec defenses of the past, but they're not as bad as some of the people or metrics or whatever make them out to be. Okay. And against an offense who I think is somewhat limited, okay, partly because, they don't have traditional guys at traditional positions. Rollison with his in and out injury, off the bench, not playing 5 minutes, whatever it is, okay, and then a freshman. Can you trust Walker? Walker hasn't gotten a lot of run lately. You're not going to trust him at Viejas as a freshman, okay? Who knows what you're going to get out of TR? And then you got guys playing out of position. They which I like, that they don't shoot a lot of threes, but that kind of keeps your potential for a big spurt in check a little bit. You have a hard time seeing them getting going up and down the floor, getting second chance points. So, although Utah State did beat the Aztecs on the glass. So, then it really comes down to them defending to try to stay in this one, okay? Look, it's Alford, two good coaches here. I don't think the Aztecs are going to run away with it and make this a non-competitive game. And I could see this being much like their game was, they being Nevada, when they played at the Pit, right? They're going to make some runs. They're going to, hang in there. The Aztecs will make a few shots in a row. We'll get a timeout. The other team comes back. It's just one of those deals, right? And ultimately, I think the Aztecs will win the game by 7, 8, something like that, right? I'm sure I'll be wrong. It's difficult to predict these things. Hindsight's 2020. After the fact that I always think, man, I should have seen that coming, and I could have sounded better or smarter with that. It's not as easy as it seems, man. I'm telling you, it's not, right? Like, who would have seen this coming tonight, especially once you so is that right, Mike? Okay, so I assumed Harrington would be back, and I wasn't even factoring that in. So Guath will play, Harrington is still out. Interesting. So I wondered if we have appreciate that, Devo. Yeah, I know it's 1 a.m. Eastern. I know. I got it. I'm still gonna probably go get some ice cream and watch BJ for a few minutes, and then fall asleep. So yeah, I agree with that, Devo, 100%. Okay, just get that in and off of there at that point. So okay, did not know that we were gonna see Guath, but no Harrington tomorrow. So interesting. I would probably not expect Guath to start. Man, I don't even think I would take that on, Larry. And you're talking about someone who makes a middling salary as a teacher, taking his salary like tenfold. I guess you could convince me to take it. But man, like I get to hang out in certain arenas. That would be cool. But get my brains beat in by 20 every game. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to see if we could do, I can't even say, illegal like NIL funding or something to get these players in there. I mean, holy cow. Okay. Anyway, so I mean, that's what I think. I think Nevada hangs in there. I think it's gonna be very difficult for them to get the win. Again, it's late night in the Mountain West. It's the last game before we come on here. So who knows, right? We've seen plenty of crazy stuff. We've seen Boise win in the pit and now get swept by UNLV. We've seen New Mexico lose 2 in a row at home and then go and win at GCU. We've seen 20-point comebacks. We've seen teams blow 5-point leads in 6 seconds. So who the heck knows what we're going to see tomorrow night? It's unbelievable. Okay, it's funny, and I've said it 10 times, but this is why we say that anything can happen, and that's why we call it another night in the Mountain West. So San Diego State 8.5. I did not even know that. As I said, they win by 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever. Yeah, I get it, Dylan. It is an unacceptable loss. That's bad one, tough one to swallow, like 100%. I'm sure BJ will have plenty on it. So I got about 2 minutes until I'm going to get chopped off of here so he can come on. So for you Boise fans or frustrated fans at this point, you can hang in there and vent there. Colorado State, a 4-point favorite over Wyoming in Fort Collins. I guess that seems about right. And Utah State 14. Patrick there delivering the lines courtesy of Circa, I guess, one of our sponsors. So thank you from Circa. So Utah State, wow, that's a high spread against Memphis there. Interesting. Okay, so Guath not 100%. Still disruptive around the basket. That's correct. Yeah. Absolutely, Jello. We all know, the deal is with Air Force 100%. Yeah, it's just too difficult for them. I wouldn't count on that, Grant. He will not be gone by next week. Unfortunately for you, you're just gonna have to ride it out here and see what happens. Maybe he'll surprise you and go on a crazy run. I think it was Dan Munson last year, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago at Long Beach. They pretty much told him to hit the road in late February, and they went through and won the Big West tournament and made the NCAA tournament. And he was, kind of wanted to give him a middle finger on the way out. And, that was kind of funny. So who knows, right? Like, we'll see if something like that happens. But look, he's giving you guys a lot of good stuff. And I understand, again, your feelings. And, maybe it is time for a change. And, all things come to an end. And I just worry about what's going to happen moving forward. I agree with that. I said you have to kind of call time out there to set something up, because then you're putting it in the hands of some guys who you don't know what you're going to get. Roddy wants an extension. I know Roddy's an Aggie fan, so I understand Roddy wants Leon to get an extension the same way that the Herd last year wanted Kruger to get extended. So I'll always get a kick out of that. When I saw that sign on TV and I took a picture and sent that tweet out that they wanted to extend Kruger, that made me laugh. And I will not put in for the Boise job. I wouldn't even get called for an interview, unfortunately. So anyway, look, hour and 17 minutes. I can't believe I've been on here for an hour and 17 minutes. I guess that's what happens when the game goes overtime. So, okay, look, Sun Cruiser, appreciate them being along for the ride. At the bottom there, make sure if you're already not subscribed, you are subscribed to this network and this show and this channel at Mountain West BNN. At Mountain West BNN. Hopefully nobody had a scary Friday the 13th. Hope you all share with someone special your Valentine's Day. I'll be back tomorrow night after San Diego State and Nevada goes final. It's the only, so we got a nice staggered schedule then. Obviously, I'm frustrated early in the day, but the game's early. New Mexico off. The game tonight. Early evening for you guys, 8 p.m. for me, Utah State, and then 10 p.m. for me, Nevada, San Diego State. Right afterwards, not solo, but we'll do the show here, and that's good. So don't forget, BJ will be on probably in 5 minutes. I haven't heard from him yet, so maybe he's doing some extra stuff there. I have a feeling that it was difficult possibly for him to get Leon or some players for some interviews. They probably were not in the best mood or place to want to talk after this game. But I'm sure he'll be here in a few minutes. I am going to sign off for tonight. I appreciate all of you being here, being loyal, coming on. Hopefully this worked out all right. It ended up coming off okay because of the game. I know I'm distracted looking down at the screen here the whole time trying to watch that. Hopefully it was okay for you guys to listen to and all of that stuff as well. So once again, appreciate everybody being here. Come back tomorrow night on another night in the Mountain West, and we will see you then. Good night.